Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna go over the fact that Naruto is without a doubt an overpowered character when he was a kid. Everywhere I go, people always say that Naruto wasn't an overpowered character, and I'm sorry, but he definitely was. There was definitely stuff he'd done in the beginning of Naruto that would most certainly put him as an overpowered character. Now, saying that, loads of people say, oh, well, you know, Naruto couldn't do half of the stuff that he's done if he didn't have Kurama, because, you know, every big fight that he's in, he always relies on his power. But at the same time, take the Byakugan away from Neji, and Neji's just a normal ninja. Take the Sharingan away from Sasuke, Sasuke is just a normal ninja. Take Kurama away from Naruto, and Naruto's still got feats that he could do that would put him above the rest of his peers. Like, it's as simple as that. For example, Sasuke wouldn't be able to do the Chidori anymore. He doesn't have the Sharingan. You need the Sharingan to be able to see where you're going because you move too fast when you're using the Chidori. He wouldn't even be able to use one of his strongest jutsu. The Byakugan, Neji wouldn't be able to see your chakra points. So he wouldn't be able to stop your chakra points and do a lot of the stuff, you know, rotation and things like that he does. I would say more than that. I would give Lee, okay, Rock Lee would probably be the strongest Genin, even above Naruto at the time, because he is solely just, you know, hard work and taijutsu. That's all he uses. So, you know, he doesn't have anything special that, you know, other people couldn't have or couldn't acquire. So realistically speaking, I would say either him or Naruto would be the strongest ones in Konoha at the time, at least for Genins when they're still training. So today I'm gonna go over a few facts, a few little bits that I think gives Naruto an edge over everybody else, and stuff that he's done throughout the show that definitely prove that he is without a doubt an overpowered character, at least to some degree. Not saying he could, you know, take down anyone he likes, but by all means, he's definitely done stuff where people just kind of overlook it. So, starting off, Naruto, at the age of 12, at the beginning of the show, learned a B rank forbidden jutsu, which was his worst jutsu, by the way, in one day. He learned the multi-shadow clone jutsu and created in one day 1,000 clones of himself, which is nuts. He has, even without using Kurama's chakra, a ridiculous amount of chakra because he's an Uzumaki, which again I would say definitely puts him a cut above the rest because his chakra is just absolutely nuts. Then defeats a Chunin level ninja, and he's not even a Genin at the moment because he failed the exam, well, like 2-3 times or whatever it was. So he's not even a Genin, and he defeats a Chunin who's trying to kill him, bearing in mind. So he has a killing intent, and Naruto beats him. Like, that alone is, you know, he's defeating Chunins before he's even a Genin. I mean, that's saying quite a lot, I think. Moving on to the next little bit, he then immediately goes on an A-ranked mission, albeit it was by an accident, because Tazuna didn't bother to tell them that, you know, he was being hunted by assassins. But he ended up going on an A-rank mission, and he survived it. He survived a fight with Haku, who at the time I'm pretty sure is said to actually be stronger than Zabuza. I'm pretty sure Zabuza says that Haku's actually stronger than him. He's a Jonin level ninja, which then would technically put Haku at like, what, Jonin plus? So Naruto again defeated Haku. Now, of course, you will say, yeah, well, Naruto again used, that was the first time you see Naruto use Kurama's chakra when, you know, the seal breaks a little bit and a bit of the chakra seeps through. So technically speaking, Kurama defeated Naruto. But even so, Haku was said to move at the speed of light. It was either the speed of sound or the speed of light. And Naruto caught him and punched him through one of the ice mirrors and completely shattered it. These ice mirrors as well, Haku said not even a fire style jutsu could extinguish them. And that's the counterpart. Like, fire is the counterpart to ice. Fire is stronger than ice, and not even fire could put it out. And Naruto punched Haku through the ice mirror. Like, if that's not saying a lot, like, I don't know what is. Like, it's nuts. And then he, obviously, you know, he has little scuffles with Zabuza, but nothing really happens there apart from, you know, him and Sasuke kind of outsmart Zabuza with the windmill of shadows. But, you know, that's not really, you know, I wouldn't really call that being overpowered, just being smart. But moving on next, when he goes into the Forest of Death during the tuning exams, he finds Orochimaru. And Orochimaru sees fit after, you know, Naruto stops the snake, again, using sort of Kuruma's power a little bit, he has the eyes. But he sees fit to use a dampening seal on Kuruma's power, because he uses the 5-prong technique. Which, you know, I'm assuming he did that because he was afraid of Naruto's power, because it's goddamn strong. And, you know, Orochimaru, bearing in mind, is someone who looked at Kakashi being one of the most well-known ninjas in the entire world, Mr. Worldwide. You know, everybody knows his name, and it's proven throughout the show that a lot of ninjas know his name. And he's known for being really strong, one of the strongest ninjas, someone who knows over 1,000 jutsu. And Orochimaru just did not, like, every time he's with Kakashi, he never seems scared of him at all. Not even a little bit. Like, he's not bothered by him, but he was afraid, at least a little bit, I would say, of Naruto, enough to warrant, you know, putting a seal on his power so that it doesn't get out of control and, you know, become something he has to deal with. So, I mean, Orochimaru at the beginning of the show is nuts. Like, he's a super ridiculously strong character, one of the bad guys, and Naruto seems to be the only one that actually makes him even somewhat afraid, using Kuruma's power. Then, moving from that, you go into his fight with Neji. One of the best fights in Naruto Unleashed, if you ask me. But during the second part of the exam, he fights Neji, who, again, is said to be the strongest genin of every genin that's there. And he's seen, you know, being able to take on Lee. Lee has never won against Neji, not once. And, you know, this is the same Lee who we just saw moments before completely wreck Gaara. Like, someone who's never even been touched, someone who got the fastest time in the Forest of Death. Lee trounced him. I mean, granted, he did technically end up losing the fight, but that was only because of, you know, I'd say a technicality. He did technically lose the fight, but nonetheless, Lee completely... Even Neji at the time, like, looked shocked when he saw Lee using the 5th gate. Then, you know, he goes on to completely, like, destroy Neji. Well, I wouldn't say destroy. It was kind of a one-sided battle. I'll give him that. At the beginning, you know, Naruto was just getting beat. And again, you could argue that technically speaking, he used Kuruma's power again to beat Neji. But at this point, all he used was Kuruma's chakra. It wasn't anything to do with, you know, Kuruma taking over and his anger taking over. It was just he used Kuruma's chakra to give himself a bit of a boost. So yeah, he has a bit of a boost in his speed and his power, but it was all Naruto doing it. So I don't, like, I'm not going to say, you know, Naruto only won because of Kuruma, because he didn't. He just harnessed his chakra, which is in his arsenal, so I don't see why that would be a problem. Like, he has Kuruma there, so why not use his chakra if he can? And then, you know, he ends up winning the fight, but he doesn't win the fight due to, you know, Kuruma's chakra in this point. They're both lying on the floor. Neji gets up, and Naruto... Like, this really does show how smart Naruto is as well, because people always say he's an idiot and he's dumb, but he never stopped thinking. Like, the minute he went on the floor, he didn't just get back up and, you know, continue the fight. He dug underneath to then, you know, let Neji say his little speech and then jump up and flatten. Like, he started his career of flattening chins that day, and gives him a left hook, and that's it. Well, not left hook, left uppercut, and that is it. Out for the count. Yet Naruto is constantly like shown to be the stupid character, but he's not. He's clearly smart because he wins his opponents by like outsmarting them. Not necessarily is it always him just like raw power defeating him. Just like in that moment there with Neji, like he completely outsmarted him. Neji did not see it coming at all. Someone who has the Byakugan and can see through walls, so I'm assuming he could see underground, and he didn't bother to check because he just assumed Naruto had been beaten, and then he won him. It's nuts. Like Naruto really does show throughout the show that he is powerful. Of course, getting on to like later Naruto when he learns Sage Mode and Six Path Mode and what have you, that's obviously, you know, that's completely irrelevant because clearly he's an absolute powerhouse by then, but you know. But moving on to his fight with Gaara. So just after the Chunin exams, he ends up fighting a one-tailed transformed, like partially transformed Gaara. And this is the same Gaara, bearing in mind, who has took currently 2 Chidori attacks, technically 3 if you count before the whole, you know, war technically began. He takes 2 Chidoris from Sasuke, one of which completely cuts through him and cuts his tail in half and everything. And during the attack, like Naruto uses 2,000 clones. 2,000 clones, which is absolutely nuts. And you've got to remember, you again obviously uses the very famous, very beautiful technique, the 1,000 years of death. Which, of course, he pokes, you know, him up the arse with a kunai and it explodes. Again, showing how smart he is. He realized that, you know, the base of the tail is the part of Gaara that's the weakest, and you know, use that to his advantage, and that allowed him to, you know, make the 2,000 clones and do the Uzumaki barrage, which again I would say definitely shows how smart Naruto is. Then after that, he uses a summoning technique that he had learned from Jiraiya, being able to harness the Ninetales chakra. He summons Gamabunta as a Genin, which is nuts. That is Jiraiya's summon. Jiraiya, bearing in mind, is a legendary Sannin, someone who was sought out to be the Hokage, and Naruto's able to summon the same thing he can summon as a Genin. Not only does he do that, he then goes on to use a transformation to transform it into the Ninetales. Again, like, it's nuts. Like, all of this is happening right after the Chunin exams, right after he's already fought with Neji, so he's already exhausted, he's already been in fights, and now he's out here summoning 2,000 clones, he's summoning Gamabunta, and then he transforms it into the Ninetales. All of that takes a lot of chakra, which Naruto is just pumping out left, right, and center. It's pretty damn impressive. And then he wakes up Gaara by just giving him a punch. Bearing in mind, Gaara has taken multiple punches from Lee in the 5 gates. Like, after he's opened the 5th gate. Naruto... So, that basically means Naruto's punch is damn near the same strength as, like, a 5th... I mean, that's, you know, not technically true. Like, that might not be true. But he takes multiple punches from Lee in the 5th gate. And yes, he has his sand shell on, so it doesn't affect him as much. But then he takes one punch from Naruto, which wakes him up out of his sleeping possum jutsu. So I'm going to assume that Naruto's punch is at least almost on the same level as Lee's 5th gate. Now, there'll be a lot of people that'll be like, there's no way, like, Lee's 5th gate is, you know, such and such, and Naruto's punch only woke Gaara up, but nonetheless, he did that, and he woke him up, and he took damage, you could see in his face, and on his face, there was clear damage there. He then harnesses Kuruma's power again to give him a speed boost, and he headbutts the dude. Like, he completely breaks the jutsu with a headbutt, then uses his strongest jutsu of all, the Tokno jutsu, as we all know and love. Like, it's nuts. Like, that the Chunin exams really does show that Naruto is completely overpowered compared to the rest of them. Like, he fought a Genin that was said to be the strongest. He then went on to fight a tailed beast, and for a short while that full tailed beast was out and, you know, controlling itself. Granted, Gamabunta did most of the fighting, but Naruto was the one that summoned him after summoning 2,000 clones and having a fight with Neji. So, pretty nuts. I'm not gonna lie to you, that is pretty nuts. After all of this, Naruto then goes on to learn the Rasengan. Bearing in mind the Rasengan is an A level jutsu and he's only known to Kakashi and Jiraiya, and obviously, you know, the 4th Hokage, and then Naruto learns it to Konohamaru afterwards. So by this time, it's only known to Kakashi, Jiraiya, and the 4th Hokage. Let that sink in just a little bit, that Kakashi becomes the 6th Hokage. Jiraiya was a candidate and was asked to be the Hokage, the 5th Hokage, but didn't want to do it. And the 4th Hokage is Minato, is obviously, you know, the 4th Hokage. It's said to be stronger than the Chidori, which is shown when Naruto and Sasuke fight on top of the hospital roof. When Sasuke realizes, you know, that the show is in fact called Naruto and not Sasuke, when Naruto blows the back of the water tank out. And not only does Naruto learn the Rasengan in about, I think it's a week, Naruto learns it, he then one-shots Kabuto, who is a Jonin level ninja, who not moments before all this was completely bodying, granted a nerfed Tsunade, but nonetheless, Tsunade, who then becomes the 5th Hokage, Kabuto was basically, you know, kicking her all over. Again, yes, it was because, you know, he shoved blood in her face, basically, but nonetheless, he was beating her, and he has been shown to be a very capable ninja, and Naruto one-shots him with one move. Again, like, showing how smart he is, because he couldn't learn the Rasengan by himself, so he used a clone to be able to make the Rasengan, because he couldn't do it himself. Again, I think that shows how smart he is. Like, he comes up with really smart ideas constantly to get around stuff that he can't do. Lastly, I just want to mention Naruto's fight with Sasuke in the Final Valley. The first part, of course. A lot of this fight had obviously Naruto using Kuruma's power again, but I kind of just want to focus on Naruto's insane, like, healing ability. Because Sasuke straight up puts his fist through Naruto's chest, and I'm pretty sure it said that Naruto, like, he either completely destroyed his lung or, like, he punctured his lung. That is basically a fatal, like, getting in any situation when someone puts their fist through you, that is a fatal thing to happen. It's a fatal injury. But Naruto using Kuruma's power just kind of, you know, damn near breaks Sasuke's wrist, and then just completely heals his, like, the hole that's in his body, which then, you know, heals the inside. So he completely repairs a damaged internal organ and completely repairs the hole that is through his chest. Like, his healing ability is nuts. Like, there is nothing that even compares to it in the show. It's crazy. Then he goes on to fight Sasuke when Sasuke is in the second state curse mark mode. Now, that mode, I'm going to assume, is probably on par, if not stronger, than the one that Kimimaro had. And Naruto was fighting Kimimaro moments before all this, which is one of the most boring fights in Naruto. I'm sorry to say it, but it just really is. Nothing happens in that fight. But even using Kuruma's power there, Naruto couldn't touch Kimimaro at all. Lee had to come and save him and let Naruto go, and then obviously Gaara saved him. But then he goes on to fight Sasuke, who, like I said, is probably on par, if not stronger, than that form of Kimimaro, and he fights him to a standstill. Both of them end up, like, well, basically doing exactly what they said. Naruto puts a scratch on Sasuke's forehead, or his headband, and Sasuke technically beats, quote-unquote, beats Naruto, because I guess Naruto is the one that's passed out by the end of it, but, you know, nonetheless. So yeah, like, anyone that says Naruto is not an overpowered character when he was a kid is, in my opinion, completely wrong. There's no two ways about it. He shows time and time again that he can beat anyone. Like, he beat a Genin, who's said to be the strongest. He beat Sasuke, who's, you know, stronger than Kimimaro, who at the times Naruto was struggling to beat. He's learned a forbidden B-rank jutsu at the age of 12 in one day, which was his worst jutsu, was the one that he couldn't even learn. And then he goes on to learn the Rasengan, which is an A-level jutsu, which took the 4th Hokage like 3 years to make. And he learns it in about a week. Then beats a Jonin level ninja with it in one shot. A guy who's been praised of being able to heal his body. He heals it before Naruto even hits it, and the internal damage is that much that he just passes out and almost dies from it, which is just nuts. And then, just quickly, if all of this does not convince you that Naruto is overpowered, let me just hit you with some knowledge, right? Naruto has defeated an elite level Jonin, a Sannin who is Hokage level, and the 3rd Hokage himself in one shot. I'll just let that sit with you. He's defeated all 3 of them in one hit. With actually not even a hit, without even touching them. So just let that sink in. Pretty nuts. Right, anyways, that is going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you disagree or you agree, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.